Hi, my name is Will, and we've all seen the glamorous toys that rich people buy. The luxury cars, the decked out jewellery, the fancy watches, the quintuple, double-decker mega yachts. But what about the things that rich people buy to grow their wealth, to become richer, or to become rich in the first instance? That's what we're looking at today, the top 6 things that rich people buy that poor people don't. And if you're looking for a way to invest into yourself, well, you better stick around. Wealth is a funny thing. Some people are just born into it. It's probably pretty easy for them. Others fall ass backwards into millions, and some people on paper look like they should be rich someday, but they end up paupered, penniless, and just pissed at everyone around them because they've ruined their chances of making some serious money. Now, making and spending money wisely is tricky, and a misunderstanding about what you should and shouldn't be buying to grow your wealth is one of the biggest differences between the rich people out there, the people who are crushing it, and the poor, the people who aren't crushing it in life, their wealth, their finances. Which investments pay off? Which purchases lay the groundwork for future success? And can you tell the difference between assets that expand your financial empire and maybe ones that bring it crashing down later on as well? These aren't easy questions. Heck, if they were easy, of course, everyone would be doing it. Everyone would be rolling in dough. So today we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the 6 things in particular that rich people buy and that poor people don't. From physical items to organizations and even ideas, we're going to tackle it all. So let's take a look. The first thing that rich people buy that poor people don't, and this pains me as a sales trainer, is training. And this is because the best asset that you're ever going to own is your own abilities. And the more that you invest in bettering yourself, we're talking not just sales training here, which is the obvious one for this channel, but talking mind, body, spirit, experiences, the ability to implement skills, jobs, tasks, the better your earning potentials are going to be. The obvious ones here are reading and consuming education material. This is so underutilized, actually pretty cheap to implement and massively key here. The most successful people, for example, consume books and audio books, and they're ravenous about this. And if you're not reading at least 10 pages a day, I'm sorry to say it, you're just not doing enough. You're not positioning yourself to have massive success 6 months, 12 months, 5 years from now. But books and written content are just the start of all of this. You can, and you're only going to learn so much by reading static words on a page. That's why rich people also invest in training programs, ones that provide interactive deep dives and specific dives for that individual into specific topics. Ones that cover skills and strategies using different media. Perhaps they're using whiteboards, videos, it's an audio training, it's an in-person training, whatever it is. And you need to invest in trainings that give you the opportunity to engage with and pick the brains of real life experts. You want to be in front of people who are where you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and maybe even 20 years from now. That is the type of learning experience that we've modeled over at Seller Made Simple Academy. All-in-one sales training, in-depth mentoring, proven success, it's got it all. And on top of all that, and this is why I'm so passionate about sales, if you can sell, you can basically do anything. You want to get that job, you want to start that business, you've got to be able to sell. You want to change someone's mind, you want to influence someone, you want to change politics, you want to change an industry, you've got to be able to sell. So developing this invaluable skill should be at the top of your list. Alongside, and I'll succumb to this, of health and fitness. If you've not got your brain and body on track, rocking and rolling, you're in good shape, you've got loads of energy, everything else kind of falls apart. Sales and your health are the 2 most important things from a training perspective, from a day-to-day progression perspective, if you want to end up becoming properly rich. Next up on what rich people buy that poor people don't is businesses. But Will, how the heck am I going to buy a business? Don't worry, this one isn't as out of reach as what you might think it is. One of the best ways of expanding your wealth is by purchasing successful businesses. Businesses generate revenue. They are machines. You put cash in, more cash, if it's a good business, comes out the other end. And if you can get into a business that's already well managed, you don't have to put in any work to keep earning that money while you sleep. That is why business acquisition is one of the go-to investments for people with lots of money to spend. But I'm not saying that you have to go and acquire Apple, you have to go and acquire the local hairdressers, whatever it is. I'm not saying we need to go to these lengths right this moment. But what we need to do If we've got perhaps a little bit less expendable income than a few million or a few billion to drop on a bigger company, you can always invest in the stock market. Now, buying shares with companies with strong track records can dramatically scale your wealth over time if you understand the market that you're investing in. And I would also, and this is not financial advice, obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, I'd also look at investing into the Chinese markets because clearly, whether we like it or not, they're the markets that's going to dominate the world over the next 50 or so years. And with that said, with the right investments, you're going to create a surprisingly substantial passive income stream from just dividends alone, never mind stocks going up in price and then selling them later on further down the line. Next up on smart investments is an audience. So whether you're selling physical products or services, or maybe you're a small business owner, whatever it is, there's one thing in common about any industry. You need someone to sell to. You need people to buy what you're selling if you're going to make a profit. And the savviest professionals know that spending their time and money on increasing their audience, their reach, their scalability, their ability to get in front of their potential customers and share, oh shit, there we go. We'll keep that in the video. That's the second time I've nearly knocked that over. I should probably get it off the desk before I make a mess of myself. So there we go. We need to build an audience by having viral moments, by spilling coffee all over yourself in the middle of a video. And these audiences are an incredible way to capitalize and boost on future income as well. Now, you can't directly buy sales opportunities. Not really ones that are going to pan out. You can buy a list of potential customers to cold call and spam, but they're not very effective. But what you can do is invest indirectly in increasing your own audience. So let me give you an example here. Rather than just selling one-to-one over cold emails, cold calls, maybe you start doing a weekly webinar. It can be the same webinar over and over, and you're going to refine your messaging over time so it'll become more effective, and it might suck at first, but 12 months from now, it might be absolutely killer. Well, why don't you invest in a little bit of equipment that helps you increase the production value, which allows you to get more people in and interested in the product that you pitch at the end of your webinar? You can invest in the marketing of your upcoming event. You can hire help in producing extra external content or educational material that you can share then on LinkedIn to grow your expertise and grow your audience on there as well. There are obviously unlimited ways for you to grow an audience, especially when we're talking about an online audience. And the more you do right now, the more your earning potential is going to be in 5 years from now, 10 years from now. The internet, owning an audience, being an influencer in a specific space, you see more and more rich people leaning into this. The obvious candidate here is Elon Musk. Elon got rid of his whole PR team at Tesla, and their revenues are insane based on the back of a few tweets that he sends out every few weeks, just because of his persona, his personality, and the audience that he's built. Now, from the ethereal back into the real physical world, rich people tend to buy precious metals. And this is because the markets these days are a bit, well, sporadic. We've got the US economy probably starting to take a bit of a nosedive. The Chinese economy going hockey stick growth through the ceiling as I record this video. And with everything going on around the world, all these different wars, all these different shenanigans, well, your portfolio could be bringing in a return if you're investing in Western companies of 5% one day and 10% losses the next. That's why so many of the wealthiest people on the planet invest in precious metals that tend to hold their value. These are stable investments, unlike Bitcoin or NFTs or nonsense like that. When the market goes down, their value tends to go up because they are literal physical things that have real value in the world. I used to sell my first sales job that I got sacked from 4 months in. I used to sell platinum, palladium, gold into the pharmaceutical industry. These are difficult to mine, difficult to find, and they are sometimes reusable, other times not reusable in industry. So even though you think a block of gold is just a static store of wealth, it also has physical properties, chemical properties that allow it to have value in industry. And so it will always have some kind of value. Unlike Bitcoin, which could go to zero tomorrow, no one will give a shit about it 5 years from now, and then it's just done, dead, and buried. Now, sure, some clever investors, people who know the inside scoop, the inside game on some of these more risky stocks and assets, are going to make investments that are going to massively pay off. But the majority of people's portfolios, when they make money, when they become rich, goes into precious metals, businesses, and real estate. I'm sorry, all you crypto kids out there, even the people who had massive success in crypto on fluke more than anything else, property, precious metals, businesses, that's where their wealth tends to go when they want to keep hold of it, as opposed to speculating on what may or may not happen in the future. Which leads us on to another smart investment, and that is intellectual property, or IP. Rich people often grow their wealth by owning a variety of other ideas, systems, or what we call intellectual property. This could be intellectual property and ideas like a system for expanding your online audience, or creating unique characters and using them for entertainment, books, music, patents, and also inventions as well. Now, a smart investor is going to grow their wealth by licensing these assets that they own out to other people so that they are making money, which proves the value that they have in the marketplace. Other people who own these intellectual properties will just repurpose them over and over and over. And you can think of Marvel, you can think of all these stupid superhero films that are out at the moment that have taken IP from 20, 50, 60 years ago and are just regurgitating crappy films out right now and making an absolute killing. Let me give you another example. Salesman.org uses our own custom illustrated character designs, and that's our intellectual property. I could license them out to someone who wanted to make comic books or who wanted to make training materials. I could even repurpose the illustrations that we use in our website and our training and our blog content to turn those into a book or other training courses further down the line to further expand my audience as well. So do you see how that works? Do you see how a lot of this feeds back into itself? If you've got a bunch of precious metals sat in a safe somewhere, wherever it is, whatever country, you know that your finances, your wealth is somewhat safe and secure. Gold is never going to go down to zero, right? That allows you to make more strategic investments that are perhaps more risky, whether that be cryptocurrency, NFTs, risky moves in the stock market, investing outside of the UK, European and US markets into other places that may be on the up and up as the Western world, may be on the down and down. So that feeds back into itself. Once you own IP, you can repurpose it, you can license it, you can reuse it 10, 20 years from now and double and triple the investment that you put into it. Do you see how all this works? Rich people buy things that make them money over time. And finally, the last thing that rich people buy that poor people don't is what we call appearance boosters. Now, I'm not talking about stupid designer clothes here or diamond encrusted watches or even plastic surgery. Instead, I'm talking about smart, straightforward items that enhance your appearance so that you can do business better. Now, you may not like this. You may not agree with it, but the reality is it doesn't matter. First impressions are important, especially when it comes down to doing business, making money, and living a rich lifestyle. And if you show up to a deal wearing a weird stained band t-shirt, I don't know, it says "Fuel for a Friend" on the front of it, there's no way in hell you turn up to like an investment meeting, a sales meeting, a meeting to buy some intellectual property, a meeting to buy a shed load of gold, a meeting to buy a bunch of property, whatever it is. No one's going to want to work with you. That's why it's so important to buy items that imply success. And imply is the key word here, because we don't want to go too far. You don't see many billionaires wearing stupid designer suits, outfits with crazy haircuts, right? Buying over-the-top flash outfits and jewelry makes you look like a tryhard. Makes you look like you're not serious. It makes you look like you're trying to get into a club, but you don't really understand the club that you're trying to get into. So, for example, I wear this Omega Seamaster watch to my meetings. It's a fantastic watch. It shows that I've had a little bit of success. Maybe they're like $4 or $5 grand to buy now. I'm not sure. I think the prices have gone up since I bought this one. But it isn't decked out in jewels that could blind a prospect if it catches the light wrong. It's not some crazy 50 grand gold Rolex that just makes me look like a bit of a dick. The goal is to look successful, but not come off like a real try-hard. You've got to put out into the world and put out into these first impressions with different people that you're going to meet along the way that you're in the club, you're in the team, you're wearing, I don't know, I can only really comment for dudes, but you're wearing smart jeans and a polo shirt as opposed to tracky bottoms and some Hugo Boss shirt. I don't know, something like that. You know if you're dressing weird. You know if you're dressing with labels all over yourself to try and show off and look important. Well, important people don't dress like that. Look online, Google what's appropriate, and dress like that. Dress for success. That's what rich people do. That's what they invest in. So there you have it. 6 things that rich people buy that poor people don't. And if you enjoyed this video, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.